Guys, the weather is warming up, so it's the perfect time to talk about our sponsor, Mando. Spring into the season with a deodorant that can handle the heat. Grab some Mando whole body deodorant and nip body odor in the bud. Put it on your pits, package, feet, and beyond. Have whole body freshness. From the makers of Lumi deodorant, Mando is clinically proven to work hard all day. Instead of covering up BO with heavy fragrances, Mando stops body odor at the source. New customers get $5 off a starter pack. Use code Chael at shopmando.com. I love how I can use Mando everywhere. Mando is seriously safe to use anywhere on your body because it's aluminum free, baking soda free, cruelty free, dye free, and it's vegan. The Mando starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, and free shipping. New customers get $5 off of a starter pack with my exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off of your starter pack. Use code Chael at shopmando.com. Alex Pereira has a special clause in his contract that will allow him to fight at UFC 301. Now, I don't buy that. In fact, not only do I not buy that, I am very comfortable in telling you that's not true. In fact, I even think I know why it's not true. But I do want you to know right here and now, before I go any further, I don't have the information. I am speculating and guessing. But for Pereira to put that in, it would seem as though he could just go to the UFC and say, I would like to fight at 301. Right? I mean, if 301 was so important to him because they're going to Brazil, if like that was so important to him, prior to having a main event at 300, it seems as though he would have been booked for 301. Or you've been told yes for 301. And whatever happens, you find out you need him at 300. You got to go back to him and go, hey man, we got to take you off 301 and we need you at 300. And he goes, wait a minute, I'll do this 300 thing for you, but if I'm okay, you've got to let me go to 301. Come on, please. So important for me to fight in my hometown. It would be something along those lines. It would not be a matter of, hey, Alex, we got to fight for you at 300. Twitch Jamal Hill, you know we got to do that fight. You know it's you and Jamal next, we can get it done. Right here. And we're motivated to do so, and Jamal is motivated to do so. And he goes, all right, you know what? I'm going to do Jamal. I'm going to fight. I'm going to be pay-per-view. Biggest card of the year. I get participation as the champion. This is my biggest payday I've ever had. But man, you got to send me. You got to let me do 301. I don't care who the opponent is. I don't care who the match. I don't care anything about that. You got to let me go do 301. I don't buy that. Do you buy that? I mean, is there any part of that that seems reasonable? Not only for an athlete to want, but that the athlete would get, like the UFC just needs this match for 300 so badly that they would negotiate another competition in, all based on geographic location. Now, I'm only asking these questions, not to go against the report. I'm asking these questions because if that did happen, we need to know. I mean, that would be amongst the most badass gangster moves that I have heard of. You can't get champions to fight. Do you know how hard it is to get fighters to fight? Do you know how bad these guys are whole life? They're telling me how tough they are and go to do this until they actually get signed, and now you got to go into the tough guy business against other tough guys. When these fighters find out, right, when you make it to the UFC, when fighters find out that this is no longer about aggression, it's about fighting, which means I don't just come across and overwhelm you, some bum at the local park. I'm taking on another guy that's used to overwhelming bums at a local park. I'm taking on do you know how hard it is to even get them in there? And then once you become champion, you go to the top of the bill, the training that goes into that. The stresses of making weight. The 5-round atmosphere. I mean, it's a completely different atmosphere. You're doing what everybody else is reluctant to do in the first place, and you're doing it for 70% more time. So if you have a champion that is willing, opponent unnamed, to have a fight and do a quick turnaround, take his skills, take his title, take it all, and put it against anybody, you're not promising him anything other than he gets that spot. This is the time. This is the time you bring in the guy that you don't think you could get him to negotiate with. You don't think you could get him to fight. This is the time when he's begging for a placement. Sight unseen. But I'm just sharing for you, if that story is true, I don't think it's true for the reasons I laid out. Boy, I hope it is. And if it is, we need confirmation. That would be amazing. If Pierre, and you must understand, fighters know who's going to win before the fight. When the music hits and you got red corner, blue corner walking, red corner and blue corner know who's going to win that fight. You as the fan that watches the media and the build-up has to do a good job seeing through those poker faces, look in their eyes, hear their tone, and find out which one, because they're both going to say they're going to win and they're confident they're going to stop. It's the best training camp ever. You're going to hear all of these things. Your job, if you're a bettor, is to find out between the two of them which one is bluffing. Because one of them is bluffing. So if Pereira has truly done that, then he is truly letting you know he believes he's going to win this fight. And the great fights, the ones that go down in history, are the exceptions to what I just said. There are not very many. But it is not a hard and fast absolute rule that both guys know who's going to win. It's not a hard and fast rule. You got luck, you got happenstance, you got performance, you've got that night, you got guys that get surprised. I'll give you a great example, but the night that Justin Gaethje, 246, the night that Justin Gaethje beat Tony Ferguson, there was nobody more surprised that Justin won that fight than Justin. And not only did he win, he won every second of it. But nobody was more surprised. And I'm just offering for you, if Pereira truly believes that he could beat Jamal Hill to the point that he negotiated into his contract, I think that it's really interesting. Yeah, I do. And I think that's something you guys would like to know. And I think for a guy that has covered as much ground in as short of a period of time as Pereira, I have Pereira as Fighter of the Year for 2023. He won my vote. He got knocked out by Adesanya. People told me it was a silly vote. I disagree. In the calendar year 2023, Pereira was the 185-pound world champion. Within that same calendar year, he was the 205-pound world champion. That makes him Fighter of the Year, in my opinion. But either way, to be a double world champion, has he even had 10 fights? I mean, is he even in the double digits of fights? It is shocking how far he has come. And now if he can believe in himself to that ability and he wants to take it back home to Brazil, I mean, these are really incredible things. He can strengthen the card, and his presence is going to make those people more happy and more proud. I mean, look what he's doing for somebody, or at least trying to do. I think that should elevate him. I think that'd really be an incredible thing. I just struggle with it because we knew they were going to Brazil. We knew 301. We knew the date. And there was no talk, there was no rumor, and there was no campaigning done by Pereira and company to get that date. Or was there? And he did it quietly. I mean, this is the kind of thing, and this is the kind of attitude. This could move the line. DraftKings has these guys pretty close right now. Pereira and Hill. Pereira is officially the favorite. Boy, it's tight. And it was some weird number. It's like a plus 113 to a minus 135 when I looked at this 2 days ago. I mean, it's tight. But it would be of great interest if he was that confident that he was already moving on. You got two kinds of athletes, right? You got one kind has to absolutely focus on something. And the moment you find out that guy is not focused, tear that ticket up because you're never going to the pay window. Never. Gets his eye off the ball. You know, all of a sudden he's got these Hollywood celebrities showing up and cheering for him. He thinks that's actually his friends. They think he's actually his community. Like, you can watch a guy disconnect from reality and you know to not bet on him. But then you have other athletes where the worst thing in the world is focus. The absolute worst thing that athlete can do is zero in. You got to keep them scattered. You got to let that ADD break. You got to let it roam. You got to keep it playful. You got to keep it light. I don't know which one Pierre is. I haven't known him well enough or seen him enough, but you guys that follow him back in kickboxing know which one he is. And that detail, this one detail, if he actually has done that, that one detail has the ability to move the line, because some of you are going to hate it and think that he's overlooking Hill. And maybe he is that kind of guy, but maybe he's not. Maybe he's the kind where confidence is key with him. Maybe he's the kind where he's got to spread it around, look for other opportunities, not zero in on one thing. Looking down the road, looking at it like a tournament. I'm in the semifinals. I go to the finals later. I mean, it's one of those things. You got to find out what kind of athlete you're dealing with. Got to find out if he actually did these things. It will change your opinion on the outcome of this fight. For good or bad, that's up to you.